Have you ever wondered why antibiotics cure some illnesses but don't work with others? Why do cold and flu treatments seem to be so different? We're going to be solving this mystery today by diving into the fascinating world of bacteria versus viruses. Can bacteria evolve into viruses? What's the difference between bacterial and viral pneumonia? And can probiotics really boost immunity? All of that and more right after this. Welcome, everybody. This is the Life Enthusiast online health shots podcast, restoring vitality to you and the planet. I'm your co-host, Scott Paton. Joining us, as usual, Martin Pytela, health engineer at Life Enthusiast. Hey, Martin, how are you doing today?
Feeling spunky, and this show, this topic, is one of my favorite things. And so I am ready to challenge the sacred cows. Let's tip some sacred cows.
Awesome. Well, I happen to be in Santa Marta, Colombia, which is on the Caribbean side of Colombia, where it's warm. And I think it was 2-3 days ago, I got on a plane in Lisbon, Portugal, and I flew to Miami, had a couple hours stopover in Miami. Shout out to all our American friends. Had no problems going through customs because that seems to be an issue with Canadians these days. And then I took after 2 hours sitting in a crowded airport, took a plane that was the most amazing plane ride ever to Medellin. It was packed with Colombians, and there was on it, then I went from Medellin to Santa Marta. So I got my planes mixed up. So 3 planes in 3 days. The one to Santa Marta was packed. So 6 people on a row, 3 sets of, and I don't know, 20 or 30 rows in the place, absolutely packed. And on it was a family, at least 20 people in this family who had never been on a plane before. So imagine that. First time trip. They didn't know where they were supposed to sit. Like, I'm sitting there and these people are constantly getting up and moving around. And then they're constantly getting up and turning around and waving to people in the back. Like it was just like the 1960s when you finally got on a plane, right? It was like so exciting. They were so excited. And I guess it was a birthday or something like that. Of course, when the plane's coming to come down, it made a little oops. And they were all like, ah! And then they all applauded when we landed and we were safely on the ground. So, but the point, so anyway, that was pretty amazing. But the point was, we were crammed like sardines in planes 3 times. I was crammed like a sardine in planes 3 times. I have not had a cold. I have not had a flu. I have not had diarrhea. I have not had any problems whatsoever. And on one of the planes, I forget which one, Martin, I thought, this is one flight out of thousands and thousands and thousands of flights a day, if not 10,000 flights a day. And if there was something that was incredibly contagious, there is absolutely no way in my mind that everybody in North America, everybody in Europe, and everybody in Eastern Asia and India wouldn't be sick. Like, there's absolutely no way you can spend an hour, 3 hours, 9 hours in a plane with all those people, breathing in and out and not get it. So I think there's a mystery here that I'm hoping that you can unravel.
I stuck into the comments.
For some reason, I'm not hearing you. Maybe it's my connection.
You should be hearing me. My mic is on. You cannot hear me?
Please comment if you can hear Martin, or comment if you can't hear Martin.
Oh, my dear. Okay, well, I have been talking to you just a moment ago. This is pretty bad. Okay, well, I don't know what to do now. The microphone is on.
George, say something. George can hear both of us, so it's just me.
Okay, it's just you, Scott. Okay.
Hang on a second. Let me check my.
Yeah, check your speaker settings. So in the meantime, I'll just babble on, which was I was posting into the chat line a link to something called Immunogen, which is a quick fix for any air traveler because it's a tiny little 1 ounce bottle that you can take anywhere. You can just put the drops in your mouth and stimulate your immune system well enough. I don't know why it says fitness and weight loss. It has nothing to do with fitness and weight loss. Curious, but okay. Bizarre. Anyway, Scott, this is frustrating, isn't it? Oh yeah, he can't hear me. Oh man. Okay, so further to this, technology letting us down. All right, any chance, Scott? Okay, any better? Nothing? I'm still talking. Nothing. Oh,
Wow,
God.
this is very weird.
Yeah, this is very weird because the only thing I can imagine that you need to do is just leave the room and come back in. Or because you can't unplug and use your regular mic because the wind will overwhelm it. Oh, man, this is frustrating when we go live into a fun show like this and know nothing. Okay, so we had Scott leave the room, maybe. His mic is set on mute. That is an interesting thing. Yeah, the problem is that Scott cannot hear Martin, even though everyone else can hear both of us. Bizarre. Okay, so I'll just carry on here for a while. We'll fill Scott in when he returns, which is this. The main story, as we have it, is the difference between bacteria and viruses. I mean, there are bigger organisms like the protozoa, like amoeba type of things. Amoeba will give you a illness such as the beaver fever or giardia, which is something that will give you a profound intestinal cleansing. And then, of course, then there are bacteria, which are normally present on us and in us. Bacteria live with us. We call them microbes, classically. But anyway, so we have bacteria like lactobacillus, which will make either sauerkraut or yogurt that will live inside of your body. And another famous one is the E. coli that lives in our bowel and causes trouble when it gets into our upper digestive tract. This is when food preparing folks end up getting their feces on their hands, and then from their hands onto the food, and from the food. Do I add Scott to stage? I tried, but it's not happening. Anyway, so when you get E. coli in your digestive tract topside, you end up with all kinds of trouble. And then there are a few others. But virus is a different creature. Virus was discovered later, and it is known to have no ability to reproduce itself. So the theory has it that the virus has to hijack or borrow the cell replication system from within us. So this thing comes in, hijacks the replication mechanism of our own cells, replicates itself, and then comes out. Interestingly, there's a second theory, which is the theory of the exosome, which says that the body will package stuff it doesn't want, turn it into a little blob that it will excrete, vomit out, get rid of, and it goes out into circulation. And there's no perceptible or difference between an exosome and a virus. It's just who's talking about it. Scott, can you hear me?
I am back and I can hear you and I'm unmuted. I don't know what happened, but this was one of those cases where you just leave, come back, and everything works. So
Yeah.
I have a theory about viruses that fits. It's not an example, a parable that I think fits in with what you were just talking about with viruses. And it goes like this. Yes, success, George. You walk down the street, and as you walk down the street, you come to a main street. And on the main street are a bunch of shops. And you come around the corner and you see all these guys in red outfits and helmet, and they're cleaning up. And one of the shops had burnt down, and there's a fire truck, right? And you're like, wow. Like, and if you didn't know anything about our society, you'd go like, wow, like something happened here. That's really wild. And then a couple of days later, you're walking down a different street, you come to a different main street, and you turn the corner, and there's a bunch of these guys again running around, and a fire truck, and another building that's burnt. And again, it happens, and again it happens. And eventually, you come to the only obvious conclusion you can possibly come to, and that these guys are arsonists, and they're burning up places.
Well, okay. Now, every time I see a burnt out building, I also see these red trucks. It's the red trucks that are directly associated with burnt buildings.
Yeah, and they must cause it, right? And so, of course, in our body, we see. I mean, this is a conclusion that you could make if you didn't know better. Right? You've never been there. You have never been there before the fire. You have never seen the fire, right?
Yeah.
So we haven't looked at the area of our body that has the viruses, right?
Yeah.
Before. We can't tell if
the
they
problem
were there.
is the in vivo, right? It's within us. We are currently alive. We cannot research it without cutting us open and doing microbial,
right?
Whatever. But
So
here's a funny story.
But if you get sick, right, and then they say, okay, you were sick, we stuck something in and we pulled something out, and look at all this shit, and obviously this must have caused your sickness.
Right.
That's an incorrect assumption in my part, just like it's an incorrect assumption that firemen start fires. However, we have based our whole medical system on that assumption.
So let's just define. We have the germ theory and the terrain theory. And in the germ theory, we state that the germ comes from out there, comes within, and causes the illness. And the terrain theory says, it's the terrain, it's the cells within you that will dictate whether a problem will develop or not develop. It's the milieu, the French word, the terrain in which all of this will take place, and it will either cause an illness or not. And further to that, there's this theory called monomorphic or pleomorphic. And a monomorphic says a creature, a thing, can only be in one shape. Pleomorphic says it will morph, change, depending on the terrain it's in. I want to give you an example. When you see a dog, it's a dog. It's not going to be something else. However, if you're watching a butterfly, you are seeing the adult version of something that used to look like the chrysalis, the cocoon, which before then looked like a caterpillar, which before then looked like an egg. If you did not watch this whole thing take place where the butterfly laid the egg, the egg hatched into a caterpillar, the caterpillar grew up to be a big caterpillar that wrapped itself into a cocoon, out of which emerged the sexually reproducing adult. You'd never know, right? So that's the pleomorphic description. And pleomorphic says, well, in a body with the changing terrain, things will go from viral to bacterial to other whatever stage as the terrain changes. Now, Scott, can we hear you? No, we cannot hear Scott. There's no sound coming through.
I wasn't saying anything.
Yes, you were. Your lips were moving. Okay.
Oh, that's because I was talking to myself.
Okay. So anyway, so that's the theory, right? But most importantly is this. This is a statement. Virus has never been confirmed by the Koch postulates. Robert Koch, back something 1880 or thereabouts, created 4 postulates that have to be proven in order to state with certainty that something has caused an illness. And let me just review those 4, okay? Goes something like this. 1, presence in all cases. It has to happen every time. 2, isolation and culture. The microorganism must be isolated from the diseased individual and grown in a pure culture outside of that individual. 3, induce the disease. You take that pure culture, you put it into a new person, and it will make that healthy person sick. 4, re-isolation. You take that same organism out of the secondary sick, infected person, and you are finding it to be identical to the first by looking at it. All right? Cannot be done with a virus. Never has been done, ever. Because with the virus, you never isolate. You cannot isolate. You can even try to infect people. This has been tried, like, for example, Spanish flu. They had soldiers face to face, like up close, with people infected with Spanish flu. There were even people asking, spit on me, spit in my face, or whatever. You cannot get infected with it. That's not how it works.
So then, Martin, what happens when, we have flu season, right? And so all of a sudden, kids come out of summer, it's fall, they go to school, they get sick with something, the story is they get something at school from Johnny, they go home and they give it to mom and dad and sister.
Yep.
So now everybody's got this cold, this flu. So how does that kind of work if we're not contagious?
Yep. And I don't know if you heard me or not talk about the preamble to this.
I missed it.
Yeah. Which is the exosome is that which is within the terrain, and my terrain will process whatever it doesn't want. My toxicity will produce stuff that my body doesn't want and get it out of me. It will leave me either as tiny droplets or aerosolized things or whatever. Body fluids, some things will fly in the air, some things require full exchange of bodily fluids. Anyway, exchange will take place, and my toxic stuff is now inside of you. And your body has to process it. It has to deal with it.
So Johnny and Susie are 2 kids in this family. Johnny comes home. He's sick. Susie's not sick. Mom and dad are sick. So rather than it being contagious is you got something from Johnny and that made everybody but Susie sick. But Susie had great terrain. She's been eating Exla superfoods, drinking Exla superfoods, and all sorts of other good things, and resting and getting exercise and being out in the sun, fresh air. So her terrain was able to just gently deal with these toxins and look after it, whereas mom and dad's terrain, they were stressed out, worried, they've got money worries, the kids are yelling and screaming.
Yeah.
the boss is mean to them, and they're sent all day in a car going to and from work, and they're at work, and their coworkers don't like them, and they're eating fast foods and drinking too much booze. So
the list, the litany of modern living.
and they watch Netflix for 5 hours a night instead of going for a good walk and getting that fresh evening air in the forest beside their house.
But more than that, they have a new 4G Wi-Fi router installed.
Oh, yeah, right. And the telecom company just installed an antenna for all that stuff.
Up the street.
Yeah, just across the street.
Yep. And so when you have all of these influences pounding on it, some will be below the threshold and some above, right? Why do we call it an epidemic when a flu hits the school, but out of the classroom of 30 kids, 10 are sick and 20 are not? It's never an empty room.
Right.
Right.
But it's never a whole room either.
Yeah. Even this pandemic that we recently had was something like 1% of people were sick. I mean, the chance was much higher for the weak and diminished, right? People over 80 were the prime candidates. People with multiple comorbidities were the candidates when your metabolic system is on the fritz, either with high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, or heart disease. Those are the most popular ways or the representations of your body being unwell.
Right.
So what we really need is we need a better terrain.
Okay, so Martin, what are the requirements to have a good terrain?
Well, microbes and humic and fulvic acid, essentially dirt, healthy dirt, and then mineralization, enough electrolytes, salt, calcium, magnesium, potassium, sodium, chlorides.
So in other words, a good diet.
Yeah, food grown in well-mineralized soils using the organic method, grown slowly rather than with the help of fertilizers, because when you speed it up, you do not allow enough time for this thing to mature and draw sufficient nutrient density out of the soil.
Right. And of course, the other thing we do besides eat is we drink. So tap water, chlorinated so that it doesn't have any bugs in it, is a really good thing to make sure you get lots of, as opposed to beer and Coca-Cola.
Well, okay, I'm not against beer as long as it's not in excess. Coca-Cola, well, okay, one's okay. You can metabolize one soda drink. You can metabolize one beer. That's not the problem. It's the six-pack.
It's the six-pack, and chlorinated water is fine.
Oh, absolutely. It kills all bugs. Top side, bottom side, inside and out. You'll be clean as a whistle.
So I won't have any terrain.
Yeah, no terrain. The only thing that's left for you to do is eat pure beef all day long, because you don't need microbes to digest that.
Okay.
So as long as you stay on beef-only diet, you'll be all right.
You were supposed to say, no, Scott, don't drink chlorinated water.
Okay, Scott, if you want to eat anything other than beef-only diet, please do not drink chlorinated water.
Right. Yeah. If your health is dependent upon your terrain, and there's very few of us in the world that's only going to eat beef, then you need to have good terrain. And if you're drinking chlorinated water or bad water, you're just destroying your terrain. And what happens when you go by a house that has a beautiful lawn, but next door they haven't done anything to their lawn in a couple of years? All sorts of weeds are popping up, and it's stuff that we don't want, and that's what's going to happen to the terrain in your body if you're not careful for what you do.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? You know, when you see a disturbed soil like a back lot or undeveloped lot with just some dirt piled on top of it, it just does not come up with radishes and strawberries.
Or roses.
No roses. Well, maybe wild rose does show up.
Yeah, wild rose, but not the one we want. I
Perhaps
want to have 12 roses for my sweetheart, and I'm not going to find it in
in
a
a bush.
dump.
Yeah, no, sir. No.
Okay, so we need to have good water. We need to have good food. Obviously, 3 hours of sleep is fine, right?
If the 3 hours are solid, good REM, whatever, you know, when you start wearing those indicator rings,
Oh,
you
yes.
so many people have reported to me that they have, despite being in bed for 8 hours, only had like 1.5 hours of actually real good sleep. I don't know. Yeah, 3 hours is pushing it. It depends, right?
No, you need to have 7 or 8 or 9 hours sleep.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
should settle
we're
down.
talking general. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
maybe there's somebody in India. There's a billion people there. Maybe there's one guy who doesn't need sleep, but we don't know of anybody that does very well after 5 days of no sleep.
Yeah,
Right?
that is. I don't know what the number is. I think it's 7 or 8 days when you actually go crazy. Like this is one of the torture methods that has been foisted on
Yeah.
prisoners is the sleep deprivation, and
Yep.
they actually lose their
They lose their
organs,
mind. Yeah.
lose their mind.
It's like we need someone said this the other day, and I thought it was brilliant. It's like we need a reset every day, right?
Mhm.
Like you need to just like, and then whatever. And I've been having weird dreams lately. And what's the weirdest is I actually have sort of remembered them when I woke up. It's like, oh yeah, I had that dream. I don't remember them now, but I did then. So,
Yeah.
okay. So you need to have good, what about stress? Can you have good terrain if you're stressed out all the time?
Well, I mean, the logic of it is right there. No,
No.
because you're going to be suffering from all the different things that are going to take you a notch down, right? And it's never one thing. It's always influences, especially a perfect storm, let's call it that, right? When it all it maybe scales, right? The positive and the negative, and they will balance out. And at some point, you will have more of the negative influences, and you'll be below balance line, and you'll be the one who gets sick.
Yep. Yep. So that actually kind of brought in my mind Thanksgiving. We just had it in Canada. It's coming up soon in the United States. So I've been balancing my stress. I've been balancing my food. I've actually been eating pretty good, but it's Thanksgiving. So I'm worried because I've got to cook turkey and all the stuffing and all that sort of stuff. I'm stressed out. I'm not sleeping very good. And then I have Thanksgiving and I overeat. My mom makes really good pumpkin pie. So I have 4 slices instead of a little one. I have 4 giant ones. And then the stress level sort of drops. And with the drop, my body says, okay, we managed to keep everything going. Now we don't need to. It's time to take a break. And I have the flu for 3 days.
More like 10.
10. It would be,
the funny thing about
10 if I wasn't taking StrataFlora and Probiotics and some other good things that we have at Life Enthusiast.
Right on. Yeah. So, so you asked, what do we need to do? What do I need to make sure I have enough of? I would say one of the best things any traveler should have a bottle of in their possession is the Probiotics. Because
I actually have it right here set up for us.
Yeah, it's actually on sale right now.
Oh, wow. This is great timing. $10 off.
Yeah.
I should order some.
Yes. And here's why it's great for anyone who has to travel. It's in capsules, and it's in its native terrain of humic and fulvic, and it's sporogenic, meaning that it's hibernating. These are sort of like seeds, if you will. When it goes inside of you, it warms up and it gets moist, and this thing starts growing and multiplying. And one of the most wonderful components in this is Bacillus subtilis, which is a thing that the Germans isolated in 1942 when they were fighting in North Africa. They suffered from dysentery like you wouldn't believe. And they watched the domestics, the natives, the Egyptians. And when an Egyptian got a dysentery, he would follow a camel. And when the camel would drop down his feces,
Dung.
the dung, the person would go in and fresh, warm dung, he would scoop some, eat it, and that was the end of dysentery. The Germans were turned off by that concept.
I don't blame them.
But they are sciencey folk. They investigated and they isolated the specific microbe, and it's Bacillus subtilis, and that thing is a hostile toward the dysentery bugs. So it doesn't do anything particularly special in the body other than kill anything that lives there that shouldn't be there.
Right. And I travel with a bottle of it always now.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a bottle like 6 months ago, and I had a bit of a flu sort of thing. And then I remembered it because I used to take this all the time. I got it, and then I had diarrhea. And so I took 4, it's usually like 2 a day or something like that.
Yeah.
I took 4 at night when I went to bed, and then I took 4 in the morning when I got up, and no more running to the bathroom.
Yeah.
No more feeling bad.
It was a 12-hour affair, and it got better, right?
And I know it would have been days and days and days normally, right?
Yeah.
So
this is the classic
have.
traveler's diarrhea, right? It's
because you're always getting stuff that your body has never tried before. Some of it's fine, and some of it's like, oh no, this isn't doing us any good at all.
Right. So and if you get hit hard, you take something like 6 of those capsules in the evening and 6 in the morning. For the next 12 hours, there's a street fight in your gut.
Yeah.
And then it's done.
And what I do is I take 2 early in the day and 2 later in the day. I don't like have it scheduled anything. And sometimes I forget. But I find that by doing that, I have very little. Well, in the last couple of months, like I've had the beginning of a sore throat, and then it goes away. It's like I've had the start of a bad cold like 10 times, but I never get the bad cold.
Right. The immune system is strong enough to identify it and suppress it.
Yeah. And then another product that I really like, and I think part of the reason that I really like it is because I spent 6 weeks in the hospital and I was only allowed to chew ice. My liver had stopped. My pancreas was inflamed. My kidneys were overworked. And they said, basically, you need total rest, which means no eating for total rest for the pancreas, no eating and no drinking. And so they stuck me full of antibiotics. And I remember one day even waking up and I'm like, I'm all itchy. And the doctor comes in and he says, were you a little itchy today? Yeah. He says, yeah, we tried a medicine last night. I knew it would make you itchy, but I knew it wouldn't make you as itchy as you were a month ago. Right. And it was like, we tried, didn't work. So all these different antibiotics. And then I had been taking some StrataFlora over time before, but right afterwards I got onto StrataFlora, and I really felt that it made a huge difference in restoring. Sorry, wrong one.
No, it's the right one.
Well, it's the right one, but it's supposed to be all of us, not just me. There you go. They hid the right button. I pushed the wrong one. So this StrataFlora to me is just so important for keeping my gut and the terrain in my gut.
Yeah,
well.
we make it ourselves in our own shop, and the way this is put together, it has enough of the flora. By the way, 77 different species. Do you remember the advertising on television? How Activia makes your belly dance?
Yeah,
that's the yogurt. 2 species in that. This one has 77 different specific species of microbes thrown into the mix. And we believe that this broad spectrum allows them to reseed the garden, and the ones that are needed will grow, and the ones are not needed, they'll just get pushed out. And plus we have emulsifiers, antioxidants, fiber, stuff that absorbs toxic things. Pectin is really important.
Pectin, yes. There's
And
your
then,
77 probiotics blend,
yeah,
phytonutrients,
yeah, a whole bunch of different seeds. Yeah,
herbal blends.
yeah, yeah. The herbs are interesting. We have bitter, like the ampalaya. That's the bitter thing. Suma is great. Chuchuwasi is awesome. Thistle helps your liver. Clover helps your endocrine system. Papaya gives you enzymes. Bromelain gives you enzyme. Astragalus is antioxidant, anti-aging. Noni, that's another enzymatic. Beet juice that helps your liver, and so on. Right? Like there's this blah 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 stuff after stuff after stuff. This is all natural. Bring you back together. The important
And you've got the
ones,
humic and fulvic acids in here
oh
as
yeah,
well.
it's in there too. Yeah. Yeah, the works. And so when
I think, if I can interrupt for just a second, Mart, I think one of the things that we say this often, and I think we just need to say it over and over and over again. They followed an orangutan, and one day he ate 400 different types of plants and bugs and whatever they eat.
it was a week, but yes, 400 different species.
And we have set up diets where maybe there's 20, maybe there's 50 different things you eat in a week. Max,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
radish, celery, arugula, cucumber, olive oil, salt. That's my salad, right?
Yeah.
6
things, right?
Yeah.
So we don't get the variety, and we're designed to eat the variety. I'm sure that, 100,000 years ago, when we were walking the savannah or whatever, we were eating a whole bunch of stuff that we wouldn't even dream of even looking at today. So
yeah.
One of the things that I love about the StrataFlora and the other excellent products is the phenomenal number of different ingredients, and they're usually organic or wild sourced, wild crafted. So they're not something that is in a agricultural farm factory being created for you, that has grown too fast, doesn't have the nutrients that it's supposed to have.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, quite. We're going for the high nutrient density. And remember, we talked about this some time ago, is stuff that grows in one season, like a tomato that has a growing season of maybe 90 days, is different from an herb that has to survive through winters and multiple years.
Right.
And so when you harvest the tops of plants, like rosemary or oregano or that sort of stuff, that's really awesome. But when you go for the roots, like the dandelion root or the rhodiola root, those things are the survivors of the struggle. And they really are dense in nutritional benefits.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So
we talked too long.
Yep, we've got to the end of our chat today. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Martin, is there anything that you want to add, or any last comments before we sign off?
If somebody tells you that you got infected because somebody sneezed in the room, say, well, I'm not so sure. Maybe it's because of the inner terrain that needs to be considered.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, George, for joining us as usual, and everybody else. Really appreciate having you on.
Yeah, Elaine,
next week we're going to be going to, yes, Elaine. Thank you, Lorraine. We're going to be talking about parasites, because these are things that get into us that we need to get out of us, and it's always a fun talk. So this has been Martin and Scott, restoring vitality to you and the planet on the Health Shots podcast. See you next time, everybody. Bye for now.